Hi, it's Dwyer. It's Monday morning, September the 14th, 2015. GamblersAdvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Let's do forensics on the picks we sold here online. The video is still up, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the monetary restriction off the video once all the games have been played. There's a game that's set to be played tonight. It's Philly at Atlanta. I'm not going to comment on that game because that was one of the games in the package that we sold for $6.99. We split the other two games, the games that have taken place. Quite frankly, both games were intriguing for their own reasons, right? I took the Colts, laying 2.5. Hard for me to even talk about it. On the road against Rex Ryan and the Bills, and Rex Ryan and Tyrod Taylor's debuts in their positions with the Bills, right? The Bills beat the Colts. At one point, the Bills were up 17-0. We'll talk about that game. In the other game, and I thought this was the gimme of the week, we got 5.5 points, taking the New York Giants, underdog, on the road against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Now, Dallas came back in dramatic fashion and won that game by a point. But understand, you were in the money by 4.5 points at a minimum, right? A lot of you were able to get the Giants getting 6 points, right? So you were heavily in the money. In fact, quite frankly, the Giants should have won the game. Let's talk about that game too. But first, let's focus on just the metrics that interest us in looking at the box score of these games. You know, a lot of people are criticizing the Colts today. A lot of people are criticizing Andrew Luck. You know what? The Colts will be just fine, right? If you look at the game, and I know the final score is lopsided, but understand, the Colts were actually the team with more first downs. In fact, the Colts dominated from a first down perspective. The Colts had 23 first downs. The Bills only had 15 first downs. In other words, the Colts had 8 more first downs than the Bills. Also, third down efficiency. That's always a key number. Understand, on third down, the Colts actually converted more than 50% of their third down opportunities, right? They were 8 of 15 on third down. Now, contrast that with the Bills, who were 5 of 13, right? The Colts were 8 of 15. The Bills were 5 of 13. In other words, in absolute numbers and in percentages, the Colts dominated the Bills in terms of third down efficiency. Now, where the numbers diverge, and this is the metric that's hard to predict, right, is in turnovers. The Colts undid a lot of good work by turning over the ball 3 times. The Bills did not have any turnovers in the game. Those 3 turnovers hurt the Colts. Understand, the game was there for the taking. If you're a Buffalo Bill fan and you're thinking that this might augur good things in the future, be concerned about the penalty dominance that the Colts had. Understand, the Colts were only penalized 5 times for 49 yards. By contrast, Rex Ryan's group was penalized 11 times, high number, for 113 yards. Now, it didn't hurt the Bills here, but we know it could hurt the Bills down the road. Understand, the next game they play is going to be against the New England Patriots, right? You have some tough games coming up if you're a Bill fan. Just be aware of the fact that the new coach with new personnel and a new quarterback has equaled a lot of penalties, right? Also understand, you won this game despite the other team getting far more first downs than you. Where the Bills dominated, in addition to the turnover differential, was in rushing the football. The Colts have a problem. The Colts only got 64 yards on the ground. Right? Understand the Bills got 147 rushing yards. Right? I'm telling you, Bill Belichick next week is going to try to focus on stopping the run and forcing Tyrod Taylor to throw the football. You can't bank on getting a turnover advantage every week. Next week's game is going to be eye-opening one way or the other. In sum, our Colts pick lost. Now let's talk about our Giant pick, which delivered. Understand, this game is almost the opposite of the Colts-Bills game. Because the Dallas Cowboys dominated the New York Giants. The Cowboys had 9 more first downs, 9, than the New York Giants. The Cowboys had a dominance in terms of total yards, right? They had 160-odd more total yards than the New York Giants. They had a whopping time of possession level of dominance on the Giants. Understand, the Cowboys actually had the ball in this game, which did not go into overtime, more than 37 minutes. But just like in the Colts-Bills game, the Giants had the turnover advantage, whereas the Cowboys coughed up the ball 3 times. Now think about it. With all the dominance that the Cowboys had, they were losing the game at home until the closing seconds. That's how big turnovers are in the NFL. Let me say this about the Cowboys, and you should be very concerned. Dez Bryant is one of the best players in the National Football League. He's paid the same amount of money that Demaryius Thomas is paid. Right? This is one of the highest paid receivers in the National Football League. He's a difference maker. According to reports, he's going to be out for the next month. Let me say this. You play Philly next week, right? And that's on the road. That's going to be Philly's home opener. Understand, you play Atlanta and Matt Ryan the week after that. Understand, you play Drew Brees and the Saints the week after that. By the way, I know the Saints aren't who they once were, but you're getting Drew Brees in New Orleans. In other words, you're playing high-powered offenses the next 3 weeks, Cowboy fan. And you're not only without Dez Bryant, a key part of your offense, one of the stars of your offense, but you're also without Randy Gregory, one of the guys you're relying on for pass rush, because keep in mind, Greg Hardy is out. So if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm very pleased that we got the win, quite frankly, in a game we deserved to win. But I have to be concerned that over the next 3 weeks, we're not going to have much of a pass rush against some pretty good offenses. And we're not going to have our best receiver to help us keep up offensively. Those are huge losses for the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas won the battle, but may have lost the war. In my opinion, given these injuries, that 9.5 over-under win total, to me, you have to go under. That's with Dallas 1-0. Right? So that's my take on these 2 games. What I want you to do is to leave your comments in the comment section to this video. Let me say this. When you're getting 5.5 points, right? 5.5 points. There's no way that this game should have gone off at that point total differential. The Giants, to me, were an easy pick. Understand, Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowl rings. Right? Understand, Odell Beckham Jr., just look at the numbers, is statistically one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. Right? Understand Tom Coughlin, and I know he's going to be second guessed for the end of the game. No question about it, as is Pete Carroll. But like Pete Carroll, Tom Coughlin, in my opinion, is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. Right? And understand the Cowboys and Giants play each other 2 times every year. There's a level of familiarity. You also had, this being the first game of the year, these familiar teams had ample time to prepare for each other. So, congratulations on the win in the Giant game. That was an easy cover. You knew, even as Dallas was driving, that they weren't going to cover the 5.5 points. Right? And what can I say? The Colts lost to the Bills. I congratulate those of you who picked the Bills, who believed in Bill defense. I would just say, though, that if you told me before the game that the Colts would have an 8 first down advantage, I'd still take the Colts. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let's see what happens tonight. We'll talk about some other games that took place on Sunday as the week progresses. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.